Welcome to the Alaskan Journey podcast. My name is Jamin. I'm your first friend in Alaska, and the purpose of this podcast is to really answer the question of what it's like living in Alaska from the perspective of people who actually do live here. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by a friend of mine, Nick. We've actually known each other for years at this point, and we're going to talk about your life, really, is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So tell me real quick, how long have you lived in Alaska, and what brought you up here?
Yeah, so I moved up. I'm 32 now, and I moved up to Alaska when I was about 11 or 12 years old. So I moved up here at that age because of my dad's job, and we moved out to good old Glennallen, Alaska, a town of about 500 people at the time. I think it's pretty much dwindled down to nearly 400, if not less. And then I moved into Anchorage after high school. And I've been in for college, and I just stayed here since. So,
what was in Glennallen? Like what was the job that got him out there?
My dad went out there to be a pastor. Much like a lot of Alaska, the church per capita is very large, including in Glennallen. So that's definitely something that is commonplace in Alaska. But yeah, that's what he did. And my mom was just substitute teaching, and we left Washington State. And it was quite the culture change going from, I was in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, going from that to a town of 500 was quite shocking. But yeah, there's a lot of stories about living out there for sure.
Yeah. Well, what was that? What time of year was it when you guys moved out there? Was it like dead of winter, going to the interior of Alaska?
No, thankfully it was, I think it was right before my birthday, which is in September. So it was right at the beginning of September. There was no snow on the ground, but I do remember the leaves had started changing in early September, which coming from Washington climate, I'm like, what is going on? That doesn't happen usually till like October or November. So yeah, but it was late summer, but that's early fall in Alaska. So
what do people do in Glennallen? What's the economy in Glennallen?
Yeah, so there's a lot. So the pipeline runs right through Glennallen. So there used to be the big economy of Glennallen when it had its boom was the pipeline when it was coming through. There is a lot of government work out there, DOT and utilities with like electric and water company, the school, which sounds like any other city. There's not like a lumber industry. There is the Copper River that runs right through Glennallen, which you can't like commercially fish, but it's a huge draw for like tourism. And there's a Princess Lodge out there so the buses will come in through the summer. So tourism's pretty big out there. But other than, that, there's just mostly government jobs, honestly.
Gotcha. Yeah. What was it like as a child kind of stepping in to that environment? Because you mentioned culture shock. Like I can only imagine going from
Well, I went from a class size of large school. Who even knows how many kids were in my fourth grade class of the school? Is probably hundreds, to a size of about 14 per grade. And when I graduated high school, my class size was like 14 or something like that. And I graduated third in my class, but that's not that impressive.
It's like top 10. So.
But it was, it has its good and bad things. Sports was a little different. I was very limited. I ended up playing basketball, which was great. I would say being in high school and stuff in Glennallen was a lot better than I think being an adult out there would be, just from my perspective. Staying busy with school sports and events and just having that community of friends and stuff, and that helped a lot. It was a school of about 100 kids, and I knew about all of them. So that was nice. And then I moved as soon as I could, right at 18 years old. So my adult experience is only visiting my parents out there. But having also the church that I was a pastor's kid, so the church was another form of community. And I would say it's probably really hard to live out there if you don't have an established some kind of community, whether it's through work or friends that you've known forever. And if you're going to move out there, I'd say definitely try to find that before anything else, because you can have all the toys and the snow machines in the world, but doing all that stuff alone gets pretty lonely pretty quick. So
yeah, I can definitely see that. So what do people do there? Like, let's say Friday night, got all the time in the world. Like what's kind of a couple go-to activities that people will do?
Yeah, so a lot for like the weekends is actually built around the school. I would say the school is actually one of the biggest community draws. Basketball nights, hockey nights, if there's 50 people at the game, that's 10% of the city coming out to watch it. And, when it's like tournaments or, a big game against a rival, which is like Valdez, a lot of people come out and cheer them on or whatever. There's not a whole big bar scene. The alcohol laws are just as strict out there as they are anywhere in Alaska. So, there's not really a bar scene or anything like that. I'd say the most people that do stuff is they have a close family or friend that they hang out with relatively consistently. Or what they do on the weekend is they head into Anchorage and do their shopping or, stay the night in a hotel or Airbnb now, I guess, and kind of go see the movies and have like a little mini vacation because it's about a 3-hour drive. So it's not too bad, but it's also like you probably should dedicate a weekend if you're going to drive that far.
Yeah, man. That's Glennallen is like so small too. It just we were talking about this before. It's not really technically off grid, but just the remoteness, I could definitely believe like it would definitely feel off grid.
Yeah, it like I said, it has its balances of good and bad. I definitely had some of the closest friends of my life there, just from the nature of living out there. It's like, what else are you going to do than hang out with the same person every day, And I'm still friends with most of them, 20 years later. So it's been great.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. Now, what does it add any extra element to it, being the preacher's kid? Like in a small town, like I kind of did that a little bit myself, but I was military, so we're constantly moving anyway, so, didn't really matter.
It was being a pastor's kid. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. But
that's a different podcast.
When your teacher is on the board at your dad's church, because that's just how small the town is, it's like, you're kind of under this microscope all the time. So when you're in a bigger city, even Anchorage or bigger, you can, as a pastor or a pastor's kid or whatever, you can kind of get away with more of not being in the public eye as much. But, my mom would get calls and be like, Nick was driving around drifting in the blah, blah, blah from people from my church. And my mom would literally be like, I don't care. Like, he's not hurting anyone. It's like,
why are you telling me this?
Yeah, that's literally what she'd say. Like, I never got in trouble but yeah, small town. Everyone knows each other. People would get mad if you didn't wave to each other on the road. If they knew you were coming towards them and you didn't put your little finger up on your steering wheel, you'd see them the next thing be like, I waved to you. You didn't wave at me. What? It was drama. It's like, what is this? Why do people care? But, it's interesting.
Yeah, really it makes me laugh hearing you say that because, for about 1 to about 6, I grew up in Hardin, Montana, which is, population, like, very similar to Glennallen. I think it's like maybe 1,000, maybe.
How close was the next city?
Oh,
or like big city?
Hours. It's like 2-3 hours away.
So you know what you were young, but you kind of get it. Like,
yeah, and the other thing there, like its big claim to fame was it's about 30-40 minutes away from the Little Bighorn with Custer's Last Stand.
Oh, boy.
That was cool. That was its big claim to fame.
Yeah, that's sick.
And like, as a kid, you're remembering stuff, but as an adult, you go back, you look out, and you're like, man, this
is exactly like I remembered as a kid.
Yeah,
in like the worst way possible. It's like nothing's changed.
All the scary parts. Oh, that's awesome. So, Glennallen, sounds like that was kind of a good chapter. What would you say are kind of pros and cons of, we'll say pros and cons of living in Glennallen / small Alaska town that's, it's not off grid, but that's pretty dadgum.
It's basically as close as you can get while staying on the road system.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places like that.
Yeah.
Other than maybe like Toke. I don't know. Something like that. But so pros and cons of living in Glennallen.
Yep. Pros and cons.
Just in general. A con was definitely, especially coming from a big city, is like amenities is just nothing. There was like one restaurant that was opened in the summer. That was about it. The big draw to the town is the gas station, the hub, which anyone driving through to Anchorage or the Valley or driving up to Fairbanks from wherever is going to go to the hub because it's like the only gas station in like 200 miles, and
Yeah.
that's about all. It's a glorified truck stop. So I'd say the cons is like there's not a lot to do. Like groceries are insanely expensive out there. Everything, they do have a program that ships groceries out there for you, but it's like, dude, it's so expensive. So that's definitely the cons. But the pros, like I said, was like the relationships you can build out there is pretty awesome. Just because of the time you spend together and how you spend it together. And I mean, the beauty out there is just like, it's God's country, man. It's like the freedom to do what you want, the freedom to just go out in your backyard and shoot a gun or, you know, whatever you want to do. Like no one's going to stop you. No one's going to even care. And it's just so vast out there. It's hard to wrap your mind around. I mean, it literally, Glennallen borders with the largest national park in the nation of Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And you have this beautiful mountain drum in your backyard. Like the auroras out there are fabulous because there's no light pollution, and it's just, it really is like if you want to go somewhere that's like awe-inspiring just on your drive to work, that's the place to go because you're gonna see like, you look up pictures on Google of like Alaska pictures, and Mount Drum from the Glennallen perspective pops up almost every single time instead of Denali, which is really interesting, but.
Yeah, well, that's definitely some pretty solid pros there.
Yeah.
I guess real quick, let's take a bit of a step back here. What were the winters like over in Glennallen? Because like I'm getting my geography right here, so let me point up here, kind of on the map. Is it like driving up near Sutton, or is it more like going up past Willow?
So it's if you're at Sutton, I'm looking at the map here. So Willow's to the left on the Parks Highway. It's called the Glen Highway because you take it to the end at Glen.
The Glennallen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really like northeast of like Anchorage Bowl, Palmer. A little more east than north than you think, but it is in the Copper River Valley, and man, it gets cold. I'd say 20 below is pretty standard day.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean 20 below would be like, let's say if winter's 100 days, I'd say 60 of them are 20 below. And then you get a week or two either together or split up. It's like it goes one way or the other, but of like 50 below, 45 below. And just a note, in Glennallen specifically, I don't know how other towns work, 50 below, everything shuts down. There's no school, there's no church, there's no stores open, there's nothing. But at 48.5, 49 and a half degrees below zero, school's happening. There was so many mornings where it was like 48, 47 below, and it's like, school's happening, gotta go stand at the bus stop, and you're just like, wow, this sucks. But yeah, winters are, man, it was long, it was dark, but like I said, when I actually lived out there, I was in high school, so I was leaving town a lot, playing basketball, thankfully in the middle of the winter, so I left town a lot to go play other schools. Which is another topic of, like, if you have kids and you put them in sports, they will be gone. Unless they're playing in town, they will be gone every weekend because the next closest school is 200 miles away down in Valdez. So
yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, I mean, is that like one of the big perks for, like, if you're playing sports
you get to travel around? Yeah, it definitely is an experience. And that's another great part of like going to school there is like I saw the state. I went out to Galena. I went out to Cordova. I was all over the place just because that's where the schools were. So I got to see a lot of Alaska just playing sports. And yeah, we even had a private flight from Galena and landed in Glennallen where it's just us. Like that doesn't happen in Alaska. We're not like a Texas football team that's making millions of dollars from sponsors and stuff. You know, we're like a school of we maybe have 12 kids on the basketball team. So that was pretty sweet. But yeah, the winters are long, they're dark, and they can get, if you don't have people, man, they get dark emotionally too and spiritually. You know, the snow comes in early October, late September, and it stays until early May. It stays. It doesn't melt. Even if a Chinook comes through, like how we get here in the south of Alaska, it doesn't melt. It stays. It can get brutal, but the summers make up for it because, I mean, down here in Anchorage and Eagle River area, we don't quite get the 24 hours of daylight, but up there it's like you don't need to turn your headlights on all summer. It's completely bright. So yeah,
I mean, it made me laugh a little bit ago looking at the camping section. They had like a little like flashlights and like lanterns and all that they're selling in the summertime in Alaska. It's like, who's this for?
Yeah, who's buying that?
Who's buying that?
And no one's camping in the winter, so I can tell you that much.
Yeah, no.
People that are,
well, there actually are people who do it. Like, it's
well, that's like the mountaineering or like backcountry skiers. They like to do that and stuff, but they're crazy.
Yeah, they're just a different breed there. But okay, so Glennallen and chapter and all that, and remind me again, how old were you when you made the move over to Anchorage?
Yeah, so I was probably it was for college right out of high school, so I was like 18, 19 years old. Moved into Anchorage, lived in the dorms for a few years, and then hopped around living place to place all throughout Anchorage Bowl, from Midtown to South Side to now I'm on the West Side. I've been everywhere, so.
Yeah. So tell me, what was that adjustment like going from, Glennallen to, the big city?
It was socially, I think I was a little bit prepared coming from a bigger place when I was a child. But I mean, like going to like school like UAA, it's a huge school. It's not a small university, and seeing as many people in your town in one, 10-minute walk as you do for a whole year, it was pretty shocking at first, but you get used to it. I've noticed that I've always kind of kept my circle small, and I think that comes from being out in Glennallen and getting used to these like smaller inner circles, and like I've never had like a huge web of friendship. I've had like a lot of really close friends, and I think that comes from that time of my life for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, just being in a small town, like the way you evaluate relationships just completely shifts.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen it like talking with missionary kids and people from these smaller communities, and it's all pretty much the same. Of looking more for like quality with a couple of people rather than trying to do this superficial.
Well, it's not. You
Yeah.
can't be like, let's go bowling or let's go out to eat. It's like, no, we're gonna sit at your house and watch 3 movies, and what else are we gonna do?
It's like, and if I don't like you personally, there's no way.
Yeah, I'll
this.
see you tomorrow at work.
Yeah.
Or at church or whatever, at school. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving to Anchorage was. I'm glad I did it, dude. I would not want to live in Glennallen, but that's because I don't have a job tied out there. There's a lot of people that love it. A lot of people love the isolation, whether you look at that as good or bad. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like the hustle and bustle of any city, and they just want to live the simple life out there where your biggest concern for the winter is have enough wood to heat up your house. So a lot of people, a lot of wood. You go through a lot of burning a lot of wood out there.
Yeah, well, that I guess that kind of is on brand.
Yeah.
So how would you kind of describe differences like in the culture-wise between folks that you've met in Anchorage versus the folks over in Glennallen?
Yeah, so in Anchorage, one thing that happens a lot more in Anchorage than that I've witnessed than in Glennallen is people leave a lot. In Glennallen, it kind of seemed like the people that are out there are going to be out there because they want to be out there. They're going to stay. But in Anchorage, just the nature of living close to a base and just the nature of Alaska in general, something about it is people leave all the time. I've had so many friends that I thought were going to be friends for life. And I mean, they are, but 2 years later, they're gone.
In another state.
Whether they're stationed somewhere else or they're just like, I'm sick of Alaska, I'm out, or, they got family. And that's something that took some getting used to. But now it's like, now that I've been here for, 15 years or whatever, it's like someone leaves, I'm like, okay, well, have a good life, I guess.
It's like
move on to the next
I didn't like you anyway.
Yeah. It's like, I wish I was moving, but no. I do love it here. And, in a way that kind of like keeps things fresh. You're not hanging out with the same person. My friend group has changed so much from different stages in my life, and that's mostly because not most of them, but a lot of them left.
Yeah, well, I got up here and so grew up here like as a child for about 3-4 years, like when I was
military kid thing.
military brat, and then moved to Texas, went to school there, came back in 2017, and like I'd be like talking to just talking with some old timers and all that. After I got up here, I was like, man, a lot of these guys are just kind of standoffish and not really wanting to do a whole lot with you. And then like looking back, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. After been here for 20, 30, 40 years, you've seen literally hundreds of people.
You know what they call those guys, right?
What's that?
Sourdoughs.
Yeah.
You know that saying?
Yeah.
Sour about where they live, but don't got enough dough to leave.
I have not. That's okay. I've not heard that one before.
You haven't heard that one? That's the old timers out in Glennallen. That's what you call them, the sourdoughs, because they just want to leave, but they never will because they can't pay for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So okay, so got up here, kind of getting used to the dynamics of being up here, being around people. Being around people.
Talking about down in Anchorage, right?
Yeah, you're socialized now.
Socializing.
You're socialized now. Sounds like I'm talking about a pet. He's socialized now.
Take him to a dog park a few times a week.
Just a little bit, just a couple times, getting used to it.
That's funny.
But so I'm up here, kind of getting adjusted to the pace of life and everything here. What are like some of the funnest parts of, some of the funnest parts and things you like doing in South Central Alaska?
Yeah.
That, you just can't really do a whole lot of other places.
Yeah. I mean, a big thing for me was I was huge into skiing. At 21 years old, I started ski instructing. And man, one thing that's, I feel kind of a hidden secret about Alaska, unless you're in the know about skiing, is we have some of the world's best skiing, like bar none. And a lot of it's backcountry stuff and you have to work to get to it. But man, we have some of the best snow conditions. Like I've talked to people that, semi-pro skiers. I don't know any pro skiers, but I do know semi-pro ones. And they're like, man, the snow up here, there's something about it and the terrain. So for me, it was skiing. Skiing I was huge into, but, I love hiking in the summer. Mountain biking is also, it's surprisingly nice up here. There's not a lot of development, but all the backcountry stuff and like camping, you can, they call it boondocking when you just camp wherever you want, but like that's not a term up here because there's no laws against it. Anchorage, you can't camp wherever you want. Some people do, but once you leave Anchorage Bowl, you can pull off on the side of the road and camp, and no one's gonna bother you. No cop's gonna talk to you. So camping up here is great too. RVing's huge up here, and you would think that it wouldn't be so big because we're kind of landlocked, but it's such a big state that there's so much to see. And if you really want to drive up on the parks up towards Fairbanks, you can. And Alaska has its own little ecosystems everywhere. There's glaciers and mountains, and there's so much to see. And I've lived here most of my life, and I still haven't seen most of it. It's great. So I'm a huge outdoors dude. Some people in Anchorage, I'd say the people I find that struggle in Anchorage are the non-outdoor type. Because even in the winter, there's snow machining, there's ice skating, and like I said, skiing, but people that aren't into that, they're gonna be like, man, where's all the nice fancy restaurants and all that shopping malls and stuff? And I'm like, I'm not really gonna get that here.
And I haven't really understood why those folks are here, because it's like it'd be like moving to Hawaii and not liking the ocean. Like it's just like why? Or the sun. Yeah. It's like, why are you even here?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So just with everything you've seen like across the state, then like if you had to pick like some other region, town, area to live in, like where do you think that would be now that you've
If money or job prospects wasn't an issue,
not an issue.
Homer is a sweet place. Homer is, you drive into Homer and it's like, I'm not even in Alaska anymore. It's crazy. It's like a 4 or 5 hour drive from Anchorage. It's a long drive and you're like, it's such a slog, but you literally like come over this hill. You've been to Homer, right?
Yeah.
You come over that hill going down into Homer and you're like, this is beautiful. So especially if it's a sunny day, that's where I would pick. I would love to live down. The foliage is different, and just the spit and like the whole bay. It's awesome.
It's got so much character down there.
Yeah, it's great. And I've only been there a few times because it is such a long drive. But I know somebody that's from there, and you do too. But they want to move back there because it's just, I've heard the culture is great. It is a pretty small town, so I think it's another like everyone knows each other sort of thing. So. Yeah, that I've always been like, man, if I could, that's where I would live.
Yeah, I've heard really great things about it. Actually, friend of mine, Eric, he moved down there. I think it was about 3-4 years ago. And initially he was like, "Oh, this is great." Then like he heard like 6 months later, he's like, "Man, I hate this place."
Oh, really? Yeah.
These people suck. But then it was like, because he's coming at it with kind of the background of being a diplomat. in like the foreign service with the State Department, so he's used to moving around a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a little different because now it's a small town, and you got to kind of put in your time to kind of get accepted by the tribe. Really,
Well, one thing I've noticed, like just how long I've been here, is like everyone complains about where they live. Like it doesn't matter if you're in the California. I mean, California's got a lot, but the weather and things you can do in California is great. But you see people online being like, "I hate California. I never want to live here." Blah blah blah. And you hear people say that about Alaska and wherever else. It's like you just gotta make the best of where you're at, man. Like eventually, everywhere. It's just like houses. Everyone gets sick of their house eventually. There's always gonna be a bigger, better house or a nicer, better place. It's like you just gotta enjoy where you're at because there's so much to offer in like everywhere. I mean, specifically think about Alaska. There's so much Alaska has to offer, and you just got to get out there and do it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for him, like a couple months later, he was like, okay, they accepted me. I love it here. Never going anywhere. It's like,
good.
Told you, just give it a little time.
Just like, yeah. There's almost like a honeymoon phase with people that move up here. Because, I mean, with as many people as I've seen leave, I've seen as many people come.
Yeah.
And, it's like after, especially if they like come in the summer, and then like winter's not even the worst. It's like the in-between, like fall. The fall, like the time we're in now, where it's like super rainy, muddy, gray. That's when there's like nothing to do, and people are like, "Oh, why do I live here?" And then the snow comes, and it's beautiful again, and there's all the outdoor activities start up. So yeah, you just got to stick it out.
Yeah, this is okay. I'm glad I get to ask you this question now because don't get a chance to talk with a whole lot of people lived up here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What time of year would you recommend people move up here? Like, in my opinion, because I know everyone wants to just say, June, July, it's beautiful and all that good stuff. I don't think that's the best time to actually move up here.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think the best time is like in the springtime, like breakup.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I would, my main reason would be like, you got to get the most out of the summer you can.
Exactly.
Like our summers are short. You do not want to waste half your summer driving up here, moving in, and whatever upgrades you want in the house you just moved in or whatever. Like you want to get up here and enjoy it. Like come here early May, late April, maybe even a little earlier, and just like settle in. And then once the snow's gone, you're ready to go out and explore the state and get out there. Because any other time, if you move here like fall, good luck, dude.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be like, there's nothing to do here. Like everyone kind of, it's funny because fall, you can kind of just feel everyone just kind of like shelter in place and like, I'm going to stop hanging out with people, and all the tourists are gone. So the town feels less full, and it's interesting. But yeah, I would definitely say springtime for sure. And I mean, spring, everybody wants to say summer's their favorite season, especially in Alaska, but I really love springtime. Spring, we always have great weather. It's that in between where we have sun or we have snow still on the mountains, but it's like clear on the bottom, and like those spring sunny days are just like you're like flying out. It's just
one
fantastic.
Of one.
You think so?
Yeah, you were the first person I've ever heard
way.
say.
Well, I mean, summer's just so like. There's the thing in summer up here that I've experienced, like sun FOMO. Have you ever had that? It's like if you're like, let's say you're like working in your office, and this isn't. I feel like this is a really bad Alaska thing. Let's say you're working in your office and it's a nice day outside, and you're like, oh, I gotta get out. I gotta get it. We only have so many sunny days a year, so it's like you get this like this fear of missing out on like the summer experience, So it's like this like stress and this anxiety of like, if I don't, it might not be sunny again for a week, I got to get out there. But then you go out and let's like say you fish on the Kenai, there's like thousands of people lined up and stuff. But you come in the spring before all that, it's like, you can wear your t-shirt around, your blood's thick from the winter. So you're like, oh, it's 50 degrees. This is awesome. Like, I love the springtime. It's probably because I like spring skiing. I'll be honest.
Okay. The real reason comes out. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, what now? You've also have lived in Anchorage specifically for a while now.
Yeah.
So let's talk Anchorage, and you can be very candid because let's face it, if you live in Anchorage, you're probably not watching this podcast. So they're never gonna know.
Yeah. So. Honestly, Anchorage, not really the vibe. I really liked it when I was younger, and I don't know if it's changed. I don't know. It probably has. When I was like 20 to like 25, I loved it. I was like, oh yeah, there's so much to do. I'll also come from Glennallen. But yeah, now I'm just like the homeless problem and the crime in general, and just like the deterioration in general of all the buildings, and just like seeing how old like everything is around. I'm like, dude, I gotta get out of here. And there's just like, I'm really attracted to Eagle River right now, and that's half of the reason is because it's a small town ish. It's still technically Anchorage, I guess, but it's still pretty small. And you go into Anchorage and like, I'll be honest, I've never met my neighbors, and it's like they don't want to be met. I've like said hi to them and introduced myself, and that's it. I'm like, I don't know them after their first name. And I've lived like 6 different places in Anchorage, and it's been like that every one of them. Yeah. And I mean, they were never single family homes, so it might be different in like an established neighborhood on Hillside. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not living there yet. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get out of Anchorage. Unfortunately, the valley is a little bit too far away from work, so it's like I got to find the in between of Eagle River or Chugiak, and it's not bad. I mean, honestly, Anchorage, I feel like it's a bad rep, and like South Anchorage is great. I think South Anchorage and even a little bit closer to Midtown's great, but once you cross into the north side of town, it's like even downtown, it's like, dude, get me out of here. Like, I don't want to be here.
I'm not going to say where the line is. I'm just going to say for a lot of people, they know they've crossed some line.
If there's view in the name of the neighborhood you want to live in, don't live there. Mountain View, Fairview, just stay away.
It's like, well, you said that, I did not. So. Yeah.
Take my advice, not his.
Take your advice. Take your advice. You hear that, everyone with fair housing? He said that, not me. But yeah, so one good thing I do like about Anchorage, I will say, centralized planning. They actually did a pretty good job at that. Like, it's a well-designed city. It's just
traffic's not bad.
Yeah, traffic's
we never have traffic. Like you'll hear like longtime Alaskans be like, "Oh, the traffic's horrible." And I'm like, dude. I mean, I only moved up here when I was 11. I'm like, I remember the traffic in Portland. It's like, holy cow, dude. Stop and go for like 4 hours to go 3 miles or whatever.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like you need to go driving like a Miami or something like that. Dude. Like you're having to wait 3 or 4 cycles. Well, every time.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of another topic too. Is like part of living in Alaska is, I feel like vacations are more enjoyable. I don't know if that's just like me, but like. I've never lived somewhere like Florida or Southern California and I don't know what it's like, but I would imagine if I lived in one of those places and I was like, let's go somewhere warm, like Hawaii or Mexico or something, be like, that's cool, but like, we kind of get that weather where we live, But I feel like when in Alaska, I'm like, we're going to Hawaii, it's like,
completely different.
It's completely different. Like I said earlier, like you're thawing out. You're like getting vitamin D restored. You're like super excited to like see a whole different culture or whatever. And it's like, I feel like vacations as an Alaskan are exponentially better than anywhere else. But that might be a little biased, but...
Yeah, well, also, it feels like you're leaving one country and going to another one.
It does,
because we're so separate.
We're also just so different. I mean... You go on a vacation, I think, especially like an extended vacation, more than just a week or 2. It's like, dude, people here act different. Like, I mean, Florida is a good example. Again, I went to Florida for a few weeks once, and I'm like, man, everyone's mad. Like, no one's smiling, no one's like holding the door open for you. But like up here in Alaska, it's like everyone's just like generally nice and just like. I feel like this has to. I've always kind of felt like this has to do with the weather. It's like. We kind of all collectively embrace the suck in the winter, and we're all kind of like, yeah, it sucks when it's 15 below in Anchorage. Like, you can't even go outside. It hurts. And you're like, we all kind of understand that, like, the only way we're going to get through this is with each other. So, you go to Walmart or whether, and everyone's smiling at you. Everyone's pretty happy towards you, even if they're not actually happy. But in Lower 48, it's like, everyone's like, get out of my way. I got to make money, or I'm trying to get, I'm going to pass you on the freeway even though you're going 20 over the speed limit because I'm more important than you sort of mentality. And I've ran into that a lot on vacation. It's a stark difference for sure in the culture that way, at least.
Yeah, it can definitely be a little bit jarring for sure. Like one thing that's really stood out to me is, there's a flight one time, I think it was actually Hawaii. Brothers and I were going down there to hang out for a little bit. And I was asleep, so I'm getting this story secondhand from
Nice.
from my older brother.
lucky.
But yeah, he was. There was somebody on the plane, and he was being a problem, and it was to the point where they were about to have to detain this guy.
Oh, geez.
Like he was being that much of a problem.
Yeah.
And the flight attendant was like walking by, and he saw like my brother like just hunched over, just ready to go
Uh-huh.
to like cover it.
Oh, geez.
And luckily it didn't quite come to that, but I mean, it was like right there ready to go. And then afterwards the flight attendant was talking with him, and he was like, so, where are you from? Details, getting statements and all that. And he was like, I'm from Alaska. And he was like, I knew it. Like,
You're like,
people,
dang it.
people from Alaska are like,
Yeah.
they're ready to like do something if it comes down
true.
to that.
It's true.
Meanwhile, if you're like in New York, like horrible things to be happening right in front of you.
They don't even look up from their phone. I mean, there's the most recent video going around that we don't need to talk about, but I mean, there's countless videos of people like fighting on the subway or something, and everyone else is just like blah, 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 minding their own business.
Yeah, like it's the same stuff going on like in Alaska. Like it.
Yeah.
I'd like to think different outcome.
Well, I mean, like a perfect example, going back to Glennallen and even in Anchorage and stuff, if you get a blown out tire on the side of the road, someone's going to stop and help you. It's just going to happen. It's just part of the culture. It's interesting. It's cool. Like, that some random dude's going to pull over and they're not going to be creepy or anything. They're just going to help you fix your tire or, help you figure out what's going on, jumpstart your car. And I think it just goes back to the collective of like, it's, really cold and horrible. And the time I experienced that the most was when that 2017 the earthquake, or was that 2018?
2018.
Were you in Anchorage during that time?
Man, I was teaching like a class of like middle school. Well, I was about to teach a class of middle schoolers, so I was at school at that time. So
cool. Yeah. But I just remember like after that big 7.2 or 3 earthquake, is like the whole town just was like, holy cow, what did we all go through? But there was like this odd, I remember there's like this odd like energy of like
camaraderie.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like I remember I went to go get a coffee like an hour after it, and it was just like you talk to the barista and they're like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? I don't know who this person is, and they're like, are you okay? Like, blah blah blah. What did you go through and everything? And so that's like times 10 what I'm talking about. We don't get earthquakes like that every day, but
yeah. If it did, I'm not sure a lot of us would still be here.
I don't think so. Yeah, that was pretty terrifying when that happened. But hopefully I don't have to experience that again.
Yeah, man. Like the thing that was wild to me about that, I was talking with somebody who's like an expert on earthquakes, and he was like, the intensity of the shakes of that quake was about what it was back in the 64 earthquake that just leveled Anchorage. Yeah, the intensity was the same. It was the duration that really set that one apart to like a 9.2 or something like that. That one, we did about 48, 50 seconds. The one in 64 went for nearly 5 minutes.
Jeez. Could you imagine?
Oh, God.
Well, I remember it was funny because, like, you go through all these earthquake training things as a kid in elementary, and you're just like, yeah, you go through the motions. As soon as that earthquake, because we feel them all the time, would be like a little, oh, that was an earthquake. But, like, that started, and then you're like, oh, it's not stopping, and it's like still going. You're like, all right, dive under the desk. Like, here we go. Like,
yeah,
it was just like automatic clicked. I was like, oh, well, that was kind of weird that happened, but I guess the school training worked,
Yeah. Did you have the like lights go out and everything? Like,
I was at work, and we have like a drop ceiling. Probably like you do here. Yeah, just like you do here. Yeah. And panels were falling out. Stuff was, of course, falling off the shelving and stuff. I was like, oh, dude, what's happening? And like, you're saying it lasted like 40 seconds, 45 seconds, something like that. Dude, 30 seconds in, you're like, your body is just like, it's the fear it brings is weird. It's like this like unnatural fear. They're like, this is never going to end. It's like your brain automatically turns into fight or flight. It's crazy.
Yeah, because like the one thing that your body it like knows for sure is that gravity's here and the ground at least is going to be solid.
Yeah, and when it's not, it's like what is happening?
Yeah. Ugh. Terrifying.
Anyways, we're kind of getting on a tangent here.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, we're having some PTSD episodes
PTSD.
over. But well, let's go and do this then. What would you say pros and cons are of living in trying to decide between
Alaska's
or Anchorage specifically?
I can start with, we could do both.
Let's do both.
I can start with Anchorage. Anchorage, honestly, like I go back to the outdoors. Anchorage is a very unique place because you can, depending on where you live in town, but 10, 15 minutes, you're in the freaking wilderness, dude. I mean, how many cities Anchorage's size are like that? There's like, what, 300,000-ish people, give or take. It's like you go up to Flat Top, and I mean, Flat Top's a super popular hike, but you just go another peak over, and there's no one within miles of you, and you can see for miles. You can see all the way to like Mount Redoubt or Denali, which is like 200 miles away, and there's like nobody in between. That's what I love about Anchorage is the exposure to the wilderness is just like right there. I mean, there's people in the Anchorage Bowl that go hunting and it's like less than a mile away. Or like James and Pam, they go hunting and it's like their backyard, dude.
10, 20 minutes away.
Yeah, which is crazy. They're like, their son yesterday was telling me, he's like, yeah, I just went up a mountain, helped my friend carry down a moose. I'm like, that's like across the highway? He's like, yeah, just like right over there. I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah, and crazy. like Pam was telling me last season, like she was out there like grizzly bear hunting and like almost got just a couple of them too. But yeah, that's just wild.
Yeah, so that's my biggest pro. Cons, I would say, like, well, one, the housing market's pretty rough. It's and even if the cost of the market wasn't rough, the houses in Anchorage are rough. You can tell they were all built from the boom in the 70s and 80s, except the really expensive new ones. So if you're okay with split level or a 80s style ranch, like you'll be golden. But if you're looking for a new build that's reasonably priced, not going to happen. So the housing market's definitely rough in Anchorage, and that is a con. And it's been like that for a long time. That's not a new thing. And then just I guess like kind of transitioning into like the Alaska con is just like, and a lot of people that are new here will mention this, is like the landlockedness is like you can't just drive. Even if you wanted to drive to another state like Washington, that'd take you 3 days, 2.5 days. Whereas if you live in like Kansas, like my brother does, he drives to Alabama, he drives to Florida, he drives to Arizona all the time, and they're long drives. Don't get me wrong, but they have the ability to do that. Where in Alaska and Anchorage, you don't have that ability to like really expand your horizon. Like, yeah, you can drive down to Homer or Fairbanks, but you're still in Alaska. It's still cold. It
kind of feels like being in the world's like biggest small town.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it feels like.
But I mean, in a way, that's cool too. I mean, they're driving around Anchorage. You never know if like you pull up to a stoplight, you might know the person next to you. Like often times you're like, oh, I know who that is. Oh, I know who that is. Or like Costco, you're like, oh, like you see the same people at Costco every time, which is crazy. It's like, how do I see the same people all the time? It's nuts.
Yeah, I'm always telling people on this channel, hey, in most other cities, states, or whatever, you can go out in public, act a fool, and just disappear into the crowd. Oh, yeah. That's not really going to work for you.
No.
In Alaska.
You're like, I don't know how many times I've like just been walking through the aisles at one of the stores and just turn and I see someone from Glennallen that I don't necessarily want to see. And I'm just like, oh, great, dude. Like, turn around, like, what are you doing here? I don't want to say hi to you.
It's like, who let you out?
I guess it's like a pro and con. Like, if you don't want, like, I like it for the most part because I grew up like in Glennallen, so I knew everyone. But some people like out here in Eagle River, it's pretty common too. Like, you go to Walmart out here and you're gonna see somebody that knows you very well, just the size of the town. And some people might not like that, but I do. And some people love it.
Yeah,
I like it. But.
I mean, for me, so I'm going to say it's mostly a con there. Lately, mostly a pro. Mostly a pro.
I was like, come on, man.
It's like, yeah, I'm going to say it's mostly a pro. The downside lately, a younger brother, he's in politics. Inevitably, you're always going to have a certain segment of the population who's not going to like him, no matter what you do. We get mistaken for each other all the time.
I've never seen your little brother.
Yeah.
I take it, is he bald like you too?
He's very similar. Like, it's like you two have had conversations before. You just thought it was me. No,
Yeah, that's great.
But no, I'm like out in public, and I mean, I'm getting like these angry side eyes and everything, and it's like, oh yeah, that's
You got to just say some crazy political stuff just to like totally opposite of what your brother would say.
It's like I'm sure that's not going to come back to bite me.
Right. That's funny.
Oh, outstanding. Well, what about let's see, Alaska in general? Yeah.
Yeah. A great thing about Alaska is like the diversity is pretty nuts. Like I've had all sorts of different ethnicity of friends, and it's like really like in that sense expanded like who I am. I mean, my best friend out in Glennallen, of all places, was Tongan. A family of 14 Tongans lived out in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. It's like, what other places like that? And there's just like, you know, there's a very large Asian culture here and a very large, like I said, Pacific Islander culture. It's shocking when you come here and you're not used to it. It's like just I think it is the most diverse city in the nation. So I'd say that's a pretty good a pro. It's not a con.
Let's get rid of the diversity.
Yeah. No, I just did what you did. No, it's a pro. I love it, honestly. I think it's great. Just experiencing the different cultures. And I mean, another pro is just the access to like fresh salmon and like wildlife meat is just so much better. It's better for you. It's better to eat. It makes you feel much better than anything you buy in the store. I love wild meat, wild fish. It's great. So,
yeah.
And I mean, a year like this year where we had record salmon, it's like they're going to throw it at you, dude. Especially if you're new. It's like, you're new in town, like, here, take half my freezer. I don't want it. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. And have you had that experience yet where you go down to like Seattle and they're like, oh, fresh caught salmon?
Yeah,
it's like fresh caught Alaskan salmon. It's like, dude, like the season ended like 3 months ago.
Yeah. It's like, it's been through how many processing plants and how many times have been frozen and refrozen. Yeah. But yeah, like moving on to the cons, like I kind of touched on it earlier, just like how it is hard to travel. Like if you're really into traveling, like you got to throw in, you know, every time you leave the state, you're stopping in Seattle. That's an extra flight every single time. Doesn't matter where you're going. Well, as long as you're staying in the country, but
yeah.
And that adds hundreds of dollars on each trip just to fly somewhere. So that kind of sucks. And then the winters can drag. I've lived here, like I said, most of my life, and the winters are still, man, they get you. There's you can kind of feel it again collectively where like when it's been dark and like it's not the bright sunny days that get you, like even if the sun's only out a few hours, it's those days where like, oh, okay, we have like this snowstorm come in, it's cloudy, it's been like a whole month of cloudiness and like 10 degrees outside. You're like, this sucks, dude. There's like nothing to do. It's dark. I'd say after like holiday season is like the worst time because like all the events stop, everyone's back at school and work, and it's just like, oh, dude, what a drag. So that's like my favorite time of year to leave. A lot of people like to leave in like now October, but like I like to leave in like February, January because it's like get me out of this cold, dark, depressing place.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's like the biggest con to me is like, and I like doing stuff outside in the winter. And that's coming from a guy that likes to ski and stuff. But it meant the darkness it's like we're human, dude. It's like impossible to not let it affect you as much as you can try.
Yeah, and that's something I don't think a whole lot of people really appreciate when they're thinking about moving up here. Everyone thinks about the cold and the snow, but they're not thinking about the darkness, and that's really what gets you.
Yeah, because I mean, like snow, like I've said, brings with it fun. Like you can do a lot of fun stuff, and it's bright. I mean, it's like, and it's beautiful. A fresh snow in the morning is like exciting. When there's like 2 foot dump overnight, you're like, oh, this is sweet. But you know, when it's dark at, you know, I work 7 to 3 p.m. when it's dark. It's getting dark at the time I'm off work. I'm like, dude, I just sat. Show up to work, it's dark, and I leave and it's dark, and it's only 3:30. I'm like, come on, get out of here, dude. Like, it sucks, but it is what it is. Like, you reap what you sow, I guess. Yeah. The summers make up for it. The summers in Alaska are, I would say, the best out there. Like, you look at people in the summer in like Arizona, and it's like 100 degrees for 3 weeks straight. You're like, dude, you can't literally do anything. It's like the opposite problem. It's too hot. But
Yeah.
Up here when the summers in Alaska are good, it is heaven on earth, dude. It is worth going through the darkness because it is just an awesome place to be when it's nice up here. And we had a great summer, honestly. This summer was awesome. No complaints. I did so much.
Probably one of the best summers I've seen in a while. Where
we had some rain, but we didn't have to deal with forest fires. I mean, that is another negative about Alaska is the forest fires. There's been some summers where we have fantastic weather. We're having like 80-degree weeks and just blue skies, and then all of a sudden the smoke rolls in because there's a massive forest fire, whether it's in Canada or up by Fairbanks, and it's just like, great, here we go. And
we overdid it.
Yeah, overdid it. The sun turns red, and you're like, dude, I wore masks before COVID. Can I say that?
It's so true, though. Awesome. All right. Well, Nick, really appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing your perspective and, the life and everything up to this point. Really appreciate that. Everyone else, thanks for joining us. And by the way, Nick and I met over at ACF Church here in Eagle River. So if you're looking for a place to kind of just plug in and get a new church family, that's a great place to look at. But other than that, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.